everybody, what's going on? So today in this video we are going to talk about the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hang on a minute, we're going to grab the 10th. I wasn't going to grab this one because I thought I already had 10, but we are going to go ahead and we are going to grab it just because I thought I already had 10, but I didn't. So this one here will be number 10, and I'm sure you guys, if you guys watched my videos long enough, you guys probably know what that sound is, because I've had this bait on so many other videos that it's almost getting repetitive. But it's probably top 3 favorite lures in my whole tackle box. So as you can tell, because I'm sweating, it is not cold anymore. You guys remember maybe about a month, 2 months ago, I was praying for warm weather. I retract my statement now. It's way too warm. The high for the past 4 days has been 90 to 95. That's a bit too warm, Mother Nature. Woe it back down to like 75, and we'd be fine. We'd be set right there. But anyway, I know that's not going to work. But anyway, went out Sunday. Went out Sunday and went fishing, and I caught one on the Lunker Hunt Link, the snake lure. Didn't get any of the catches on camera because I wasn't smart enough to turn the camera on, because the bites were, it was very, they were keying in on very specific size bait fish. And what all I had tied on was way too big. And the other things, you know, that I had tied on were topwater, and they weren't really hitting topwater. They were schooling on shad basically in the whole pond. The whole pond was full of bass schooling on shad, and they were all hitting shad about the 3-inch length to smaller, and they were hitting all that size shad. So I was throwing, like, I had 2 topwater baits on. Actually, I had 3, but I ended up tying one off, or untying. Okay, I don't know where that came from. And I put on one of these little swim baits and only got 1 fish. It completely wrecked this swim bait. Like, look at it. Tore that whole head off. I mean, it's got teeth marks all over just from 1 fish. But yeah, I was trying to catch some fish on camera, but the bite was very specific. Now, that might sound stupid to some of you guys. It might sound like you guys know exactly what I mean. But it was a very specific bait fish size, and it was kind of hard to mimic it because oh, I thought somebody was talking. It was a radio. But anyway, it was very hard to mimic that size bait fish because the only way we could was with a jig head swim bait, and there's way too much grass for that. So, yeah. Anyway, these are the top 10 best bass fishing baits that are shad imitators and are going to work super well in about mid-June when that shad spawn really, really gets popping hard. That is one of my favorite times to fish because you can catch so many fish from the bank or from a boat. And I'm actually going to leave a link to a video that Bama Bass posted like 3 years ago. And I actually watched it like after it first came out, and that was way before I ever even thought of having a YouTube channel. I think it was like probably one of the first 5 videos I ever watched on YouTube. And it was with, I'm pretty sure it was with this exact bait right here. This popping style bait, this color, same brand. I might be wrong on the brand, but it was that color scheme and that size. So I'll leave a link to that video because it is awesome. It is probably one of the most prime examples of bass hitting shad I've ever seen. And it was super awesome. And this guy was catching some monster fish on topwater. Easily one of my favorite videos that I've ever watched. I still go back. I've probably watched it 10 times, and I still go back and watch it. I'll probably watch it after I film this video, honestly. But yeah, most of the baits that I like to throw are moving baits or topwater baits during a shad spawn, and that's just because the bass are hitting topwater hard when the shad are spawning. But these 3 here are my favorite non-fast moving baits that you can throw. So, number 1, which this is probably no surprise to some of you guys. I've talked about this thing a lot, and it's a very simple rig. Basically, all you do is just a 1 to 2-aught, maybe even 3-aught if you want to go a little bit heavier hook, weightless trick worm. Literally one of the easiest baits to fish. Honestly, sometimes you don't even have to move it. I've done sometimes where the fish weren't having shad spawning, but they were actually blowing up on bluegill, and I would cast this trick worm out and let it fall very slowly, and then I'd cast the swim bait out. That swim bait, once it gets to the bottom, I'll pick up the swim bait and start ripping it off the bottom and ripping it out of grass. And I almost double hooked up 3 different times. I ended up losing one of the fish, and I was fishing a little weightless trick worm. So pick you up some of these white weightless trick worms because these things are awesome. And the other rigs are either a single rig or a double rigged fluke. Now, I didn't have any pre-rigged flukes already in my tackle box, so I just grabbed the double rig because the double rig will work too. 1 rig, 2 rigs, or excuse me, 1 fluke, 2 fluke, and it works really well as well. Next, we're going to be talking about all moving baits and topwater baits now. So, our moving baits, there's only 2, actually, no, there's 3. There's 3 moving baits that aren't considered topwater baits. Number 1 is just a plain swim bait. Swim bait with a belly weighted hook. This is a Doc's Lures Gray swim bait. Great little bait for the shad. And then another bait that is a great lure for the shad spawn is a swim jig. Now you can get whatever color you prefer. I prefer white because you can see the bait a little bit better and the fish can see the bait a little bit better. It looks a little bit different than just like the normal shad. It has a little bit of a more non-flashy color. Basically, it's not silver, it's white. But you can get a silver gray colored swim jig as well. I just prefer white, honestly. So another bait is a spinner bait. Now I just grabbed one of these. These here I think are the Wahoo. I think it's like an H2O Express exclusive bait. But it is a pretty good looking spinner bait. Probably one of the more natural shad colors I have. And always, always, always got to have a trailer hook on there. And this one here's got a willow blade with a little Colorado blade. The blades, honestly, if you're going to get one specifically for the shad spawn, go with one that either has 1 or 2 willow blades. Because it looks like a little minnow, and it looks just like a little school of bluegill, or a little school of shad, excuse me, is swimming through, and the bass will crush it. Some of the bigger bass I've seen during the shad spawn have been caught on spinner baits. So next, the next 4 are all top water. Now, this is not a experience lure. This is not a confidence lure, but it's caught too many bass during the shad spawn for me not to talk about, because I'm sure somebody who has fished in the shad spawn and stuff will probably say, hey, where is it at? And it's a buzzbait. Now, this is the only buzzbait I have. I actually have another one, but I don't know what color it is. I know it's not a shad color. It's like, I think it's like chartreuse or something like that. And it's not really a shad color. This one here is white and chartreuse, and as you guys can tell, it's actually a fur buzzbait. It actually looks really cool in the water. And it has like a inside blade, inside a bigger blade. It looks really cool in the water. It makes a unique sound that I've never heard from another buzzbait. And I probably won't be able to leave a link to this bait. I'll leave a link to as many as I can, unless I fall asleep after I post this, because that happens a lot. If the links aren't in the description, I do apologize. But yeah, this here is like a custom buzzbait that you can only get a certain amount of. It's not like you can go to Walmart and buy these. They're pretty hard to find even on the internet. So next is this right here, the walking bait. This is a Strike King Sexy Dog, probably easily number 1, or it's in the top 3 of top bass lures I've ever used. You guys, I mean, I've showed it way too many times for you guys not to have seen it by now, but there's just teeth marks everywhere on this thing where I've caught easily, I'd say probably 95% of the fish I've caught on this have all been over 2 pounds. It just catches a bigger size of fish, in my opinion. It catches bigger size than the head and spooks. I mean, I've used the head and spooks, and I think the biggest fish I ever caught on one was like maybe 2.5. And this thing I've caught like multiple 3+ pounders on it, and it just works. And I don't think I've caught a fish smaller than 1 pound on it. So this thing catches fish. Next, like I was showing you guys earlier, one of the Bama Bass lures that I bought one just because of that video, and this is just a Summer Sexy Shad colored Strike King Splash Popper. Now, I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to say for 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that this is the lure that guy was using in the video, because it looked, honestly, exactly like this. Now, I might be wrong on the brand, because I don't know if Strike King was making poppers when this video was up, but it might be the same brand. I don't remember. Really, really good bait. I caught quite a few fish on that one. Okay, that was weird. I thought I seen that, because I got there's a blanket in front of this door to keep the air inside of the other rooms, because this room here is not really one that a lot of people are in. I swear that blanket just moved like somebody was walking through. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. Next is a white frog. Now, where you probably can't fish this is in the grass. Obviously, you can't fish it because it's got treble hooks. So what are you going to throw? That's where Mr. White Frog comes in. Now, you can trick this thing out. All you got to do is take a Sharpie. Now, I have a frog in here. I showed it to you guys during the top water video that I made a while back. I completely just, honestly, I ruined the frog. I don't know what I was going for, but I did it anyway. But as you can tell, this was once it was a white frog just like this one, but I just completely, I don't even know what you want to call it, with some white and black Sharpies. So you can do that with a white frog. That's something I do like about white frogs, is you can put, like, if you want to put like chartreuse on the sides, you can, or if you want to put like a red mark on the belly or something to give the fish something to see, you can do that. That's just, you know, a couple things that I like to do with the frogs. But the key to one of these frogs is that popping mouth, because sometimes when they're busting on shad, it's kind of hard for them to see your bait, because, you know, if you're using like a very silent bait such as a swim jig, you know, and they're not really hitting it, go with a chatterbait or a spinnerbait. Something with a little bit more thump and flash could possibly get them to hit. Or possibly, if you want to, put on some sort of a trailer with a lot of flash on it. Maybe even put one of those like little screw lock spinners on your trailer. Give it a little underspin type action. That would look pretty cool as well. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video. I know some places down south, like in Texas, have been talking about the shad spawn approaching very rapidly. And the way the fish were busting on shad yesterday, I honestly wonder if our shad spawn is too far off, because that was like, I was pretty surprised by that. Now, I'm pretty sure 99% of the fish are post-spawn right now, because basically during 1 week they were on beds, and then the weekend they weren't. So I'm thinking that they're mostly post-spawn. There is a few still on beds. We did see one fish on a bed, but it was really like, it was almost post-spawn, just hanging around the bed. I don't think it was actually spawning. We did see a lot of bluegill on beds. We've seen probably maybe 10 to a dozen bluegill on beds, and they were all probably 11 to 10 inches long. And we were actually catching bass behind them. And so there's another thing that I might do a video on later. If you guys want me to do a video, kind of like a in-depth shad spawn video, leave a like on this video or comment down below telling me, like, hey, go ahead and do that video. I will definitely watch it, whatever. But also, if you've even watched this far into the video, I'm looking for suggestions for 2 of the in-depth videos that I'm going to be doing this week. I'm going to be doing 2 instead of 1. So let me know your suggestions down below. Thanks for watching. Bye.